Hello there, my name is Michael Maynard and welcome back to Gorilla Picking. Now, you are watching episode 3 of my multi-part series on the Group 2 safe lock, and we are starting to get into the guts of the lock here, guys. We're starting to get into the interesting stuff. Now, what this episode is going to cover is the cam, that's this little beast here, and its relation to the dial. Now, the first thing that you folks have got to understand, and this is absolutely crucial to how a safe lock works, the cam is the only part of the guts of the safe lock that is connected to the dial. So the rest of the internal components, and we're going to go into those in great detail later on, but in particular, these 3 wheels here, so this is a thing called the wheel pack. These 3 wheels that are stacked up on top of each other here are the ones that carry the combination and the ones that do the actual work of locking and unlocking the safe. Those wheels are not in contact with the shaft of the lock. So if you can see me, I'm just rotating this wheel here, wheel number 3, just a little bit. Let's do that with the pick. You can see that I'm moving that around. The bearing surface for that is this tube here, and then the shaft of the dial actually goes up the middle of that, so there is no direct connection. Okay, how the hell is that correct connection made then? Well, quite simply, here is our cam, here is our shaft. The shaft is threaded. That cam threads on there like that, and then there is a thing called a spline key, which is, this is the homemade one that I've got with the big head so that we can use it as a demonstration item. And the spline key locks the cam to the shaft in to make it one solid unit. So this is effectively now one hunk of steel. All right, now you will see that there are letters on that cam, and I'm going to zoom in on that so that you can see this, guys, because I'm introducing another very important concept. We have got a whole bunch of letters here. We have got the letters VD for vertical down. We have got VU for vertical up. We have got LH for left hand, and we have got RH for right hand. Now, this refers to the position of the bolt in the lock. So let's just zoom back out again. The convention that you need to know, and again, this is crucial, if you screw this up, you are buggered. When you look at the lock from the inside of the safe, so here we are looking at the lock from the inside of the safe, the orientation of the bolt is critical. In this case, it is on the right hand. If it was mounted like that in the safe door, it would be vertically up. That would be vertically down, and I guess you guys can probably work out what it would be if it was on that angle there. Now, when you are assembling this thing, for the love of God, you need to get this cam mounted in the right place. So if we have got a right-handed lock here, what we need to do is find the one that says RH for right hand, align that with the cutout on the shaft, and then get the key in there so that it locks that in the correct position. If you assemble your lock with that in the wrong place, you are going to have problems with the operation of the lock, some of which sometimes are recoverable and some of which are not. Doesn't really matter. Bottom line is you have to get that in the right place. All right, now let's just get that back off the shaft again. And the next thing that we need to talk about is how the motion is transferred from the cam into the wheels themselves. Now, I have just told you repeatedly, because it's bloody important, that this is the only part of the lock that is talking to the outside. And it's true, okay? So that is in direct contact with the shaft. The key makes it all one physical piece. So therefore we have to get the rotational motion of this cam transferred to these wheels somehow. Now, How the hell might you do that? Well, you do it with the little pin on the back of this cam called the drive pin. Now I am going to zoom in on that because again, very, very important concept. Here is our cam, so we're looking at the underside of it now. You can see that the rear surface is basically flat except for this little pin here. Now that little drive pin is where all the energy from dialing the lock goes through. And if you have a look at wheel number 3 here, what I might do actually, gents, is just get that arm out of the way. Just give me 2 seconds, okay? And we're going to get that arm out of the road. Right, here's our lock. Now, see this little movable part here? That is called a fly, right? It's movable. Now, it has a number of jobs to do and we'll discuss the details of it later. But the thing that you guys need to know is that the drive pin on the back of the cam, thusly, its whole job is to push against that fly and move our wheels, right? So we just figured out how the wheels move. So let's say the edge of my pick is the drive pin. We can dial round 1 whole revolution before anything at all happens. Then it picks up the fly and then the wheel moves. Then when we go back in the other direction, exactly the same thing happens again. We can go back 1 whole revolution from where we are, picks up the fly, and then moves it again. Now this is how the motion gets transferred between A, the cam, and then B, these 3 wheels in the wheel pack. Now every single one of those wheels has the same arrangement. So we have got a drive pin and a fly, a drive pin and a fly, a drive pin and a fly down the stack here, so that when you dial this round once, just the cam's going for a start. Then it picks up wheel 3, that goes around once. Then it picks up wheel 2, and that goes around once. And then it picks up wheel 1, which is the one at the very front of the lock here, and finally that's rotating. Now that is why, and I'm about to tie in something from yesterday's episode, guys, that is why you start by dialing the combination 4 times to the left. Does that make a light go on in your head? So what we had to do, we had to dial the cam round first before anything happened. Then it picked up wheel 3, then it picked up wheel 2, and then one more time it picked up wheel 1. And at that point, we could position wheel 1 into its position. And that, gentlemen, is the end of this episode. What we will cover in the next episode is exactly what happens when we start dialing these things around and lining them up. So, my name is Michael Maynard. You have just learnt about the cam and how it transfers energy into these wheels via the flies, and this is Gorilla Picking.